Welcome to Bending Jeeps Across America. Today we're not talking about trail riding specifically. We're talking about four items, four contingencies you should be able to take care of on the trail. Because if you've just bought your four-wheel drive, it's new, it's empty, the carpet's clean, your side-by-side, you're still peeling the plastic off it. Somebody's going to come to you and want you to go trail riding. They're going to say, hey man, join us on the trails. And before something goes wrong on the trails, you want to have some basic equipment. So when your tire gets a hole in the sidewall, like mine did, you want to make sure you have a few basic tools to take care of it. I had my farm jack, my lug wrench, and a tow strap so that I could tie off to my wife's Jeep, loosen my lug nuts, jack my Jeep up, and take my tire off without causing everybody else on the trail to stop and try to help me. A great place to get this stuff if you don't have a local four-wheel drive shop, your local Harbor Freight. There's almost a Harbor Freight everywhere. So stop in at Harbor Freight and pick up a few basics before you get invited on your first trail ride. Tow point. Shackles and hooks that go in your receiver hitch are a great, easy starter tow point. Pick one up. Figure out, if you don't have a tow point on the front of your vehicle, figure out how to mount a hook on the front to the frame with a reinforcement of some kind, a plate or something, so that it doesn't bend sideways. My wife's Jeep, when we bought it, had these awesome 20-inch rock stars on it and no tow hooks. So useless in a multitude of ways, right? If you're going off-roading, get rid of the wheels with a lot of plastic and get some tow points. Here's a video of my old Cherokee back in the day when I was being pulled out of the mud and the tow hook broke off the vehicle towing me, slung back, broke a headlight, header panel, etc. Could have come through the windshield and killed me. So make sure your tow points are not going to be the weak link. Tow strap. You got to have a tow strap to go with your tow points. Harbor Freight's got a ton of them. Go pick one out. They're all very good. And do me a favor. When you've got a strap hooked to somebody or someone's hooked to you, slow and steady wins the race, right? Your tugs should grow incrementally. So your first tug should just be a flat pole like this. Then you can do a little bump and a little bump. But don't go running 20 miles an hour at the end of that strap. It's bad for everybody. Strap, frames, vehicles, etc. Your safety and first aid stuff. Throw a first aid kit underneath the seat of your Jeep or in a box on your side-by-side and learn a little bit about what's in it and how to use it. Same thing with the fire extinguisher. Secure that thing in your vehicle. That way, if there's a fire in your vehicle, you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to find out who's got one you can borrow. And some basic tools. Basically, my opinion is be able to change your own tire. Get a lug wrench and a jack. I use a farm jack because it's useful for a lot of things, but a bottle jack takes up a lot less room. So what can you get at Harbor Freight? Pretty much one of everything. I get a lot of my off-roading stuff here, my gear, my supplies. You got a wall of gloves to pick from, tons of tools, hammers, batteries, lights, super glue. Go shopping in a Harbor Freight and try to figure out all the stuff you should have in your Jeep, like rechargeable lights, headlights for working on your Jeep at night. Let's take a quick look at some of the stuff Harbor Freight has for sale. You got steel shackles, soft shackles. You got winch mounts, which are great for making your own winch mount bumper. It's a great platform to start with. Got a receiver hitch winch, which is not my personal favorite, but it may work for your application. Farm jacks, another great multi-tool. You got your snatch blocks, tow hooks, tow straps, and there's a variety of those, both Badlands and Hallmaster. This receiver hitch shackle is one of my favorite basic recovery tools because it secures the strap and doesn't let it pull off. The Badlands winch, I gotta find out how old the one is on my wife's Jeep. It's showing some age. You can see some ultraviolet damage on the wire covers, rust on the cable. The thing works every time, and one day we're gonna pull that cover off and find out how old it is. Another thing I like to get at Harbor Freight is ammo cans. I use those for storage in my Jeep. I can strap them down, I can bolt them down. They're good for a lot of things, and they're weather resistant. D-rings for putting tie-down points in the back of my Jeep. The big D-ring anchors I use on my deck or on my trailer to secure my Jeep when I'm hauling. Tons of different toe straps, tire tie-downs, axle straps, All sorts of great things for either securing the load in your Jeep or securing your Jeep on the trailer. And zip ties. Who doesn't love zip ties? You got to throw a bag in each vehicle, really. They got a great selection of them there. And whenever you use one zip tie, you might as well use two, right? Tool bags. Now, I love my tool bags for either hauling my tools in or my straps or whatever. Throw my strap in a cheap tool bag, and if it gets muddy inside the bag, then I can rinse everything out when I get off the trail, but it keeps the mud from spreading all over the vehicle. And then what else we got? A receiver hitch rack. I used one of those in an earlier project where I put the rack across the back of my Wrangler, right behind the front seats, to make a storage rack inside, and that's worked out pretty well. It's mounted just high enough to clear the 33-inch spare. I use the little D-rings and shackle mounts to tie everything down with. But go to your Harbor Freight. If you don't have a local four-wheel drive shop to patronize, and I recognize every small town is different, and for a lot of us in the middle of nowhere, you may have a Harbor Freight or you may have a Tractor Supply. My personal favorite is Harbor Freight. It was before I started working there, and now that I'm working there, I get to spend more time checking out the gear. That's right, you heard right. I work for Harbor Freight. I actually help set up new stores, and I just accepted a position with them to do one in Coldwater, Michigan. So I've done one outside of New Orleans, outside of Phoenix, one outside of Cincinnati, and now I'm heading up to Michigan. And so that's my side job, my little hustle, my gig job that lets me afford some Jeep parts, so I keep hitting the trails as we travel around the country. I'm not a spokesman for them. No one's giving me anything for free. I just enjoy cheap stuff, and I enjoy trail riding with people that are a little prepared. So for these little things, go pick them up at Harbor Freight. For bigger deals, for gear changes, stuff like that, go visit your local four-wheel drive shops, make some friends, and enjoy their expertise. And when it comes time to pay for quality work, don't be afraid to do it. But in the meantime, when you're just starting out, like we did, you enjoy your cheap stuff and get on the trail safely. And hopefully we'll see you out there soon. Maybe Silver Lake, Sand Dunes, Michigan. I'd like to hit that again. All right, keep trail riding safely, and we'll see you next time.